when Asian revolution is sort of in full play. Toussaint, the first bit is when Toussaint, he's not himself becoming essentially like a black consul. He becomes the ruler of Saint-Domingue, just because he had the power ready to be. And the French don't like the state affairs. Toussaint's growing up constitution, he wants to be essentially make Saint-Domingue part of the French Empire, self-governing, without any slavery there at all, but within part of the wider French Empire. However, the French Revolution is now spiralling down into counter-revolution. We're talking about late 1790s here. And Napoleon is now in power. He's just come to power as he was declared himself. Well, I think exactly he is. He's now the kind of key man in France. So they're discussing Napoleon with his sort of lieutenants around him about what to do.
The play starts off very much building on the relationship between Toussaint and the generals in the rebellion, where he's the secretary at first, and he is valued for his writing. Then over the years he progresses and becomes leader. And he's a very earnest and sincere and committed soldier, committed to his people. So the point we're out taking, because CLR James was initially wanting to raise the profile of Toussaint Louverture because of attacks upon Toussaint Louverture's character and upon black people in general. So you've got three great people in this one product here. But you've got CLR James, Paul Robeson, and Toussaint Louverture all coming together. Three great figures who wanted to emphasize the pride and the achievements of the African. Whereas, as CLR James says, everything in writing about the African and African people was done by white. So this was an opportunity to change that. So it's interesting thinking of Paul Robeson speaking the words written by CLR James about Toussaint Louverture. So I'm going to try and capture that. So the first scene I'm reading is quite lengthy, so do bear with me. But I think it's important. It testifies to what Toussaint Louverture was trying to achieve, and also to the reaction from the West. So this is a scene between Vincent, who's an officer in Napoleon's army, who's gone out to get information and has built a relationship with Toussaint Louverture. His role in history is repeated every now and then, where relationships are built up, sincere relationships are built, but through greed and power, those relationships are manipulated, and harmony is not indeed. So, first concept. God raised this Toussaint Louverture to govern. Not only does he read the hearts of his subjects, but he masters affairs and reorganizes the administration of Saint-Domingue with a boldness and success that astonish all men. What miracles has he performed? No miracles, sir, but he was a slave and ruled the half-barbarous people. First among the rulers of the world, he had introduced into his country the economic system of free trade, so that the commerce of the country leaps beyond all expectation. Does this trade of France leap forward to? Quite like. What else, Vincent? Not only in commerce, but also in social relationships. This extraordinary Negro shows the breadth of his outlook and the elevation of his mind. He has introduced into Saint-Domingue full religious toleration. He plans vast schemes for the education of his people. He sends Negroes to France to be trained at the public expense, to learn from us in order to go back and teach. To teach what? To teach blacks to rule over whites? No, Consul. He appoints to a post whoever is fit for it, white, black or mulatto. All he asks is that they serve the country, and the planters are coming back and taking up their estates again, for they feel they can trust him. Trust him, with 500,000 black savages roaming wild on the countryside? First Consul, Toussaint has pacified the labouring classes by a scheme as simple as his goal. They are not paid in wages, but they get a quarter of whatever they produce. If they are left in peace, they will never revolt again. You, Colonel Vincent, a French officer, dare to sponsor this document to me, not only to present it, but to speak in its favor. General Louverture, Consul for life. A Negro who used to drive a coach, dare to call himself Consul for life. His next step will be to proclaim the colony independent. First Consul, the Constitution does not claim independence. It swears allegiance to France. The Commander-in-Chief, do not speak to me of Commander-in-Chief. I shall not leave an epithet on the shoulders of a single nigger in the colony. First Consul, he means good faith. He has sent his sons here to be educated. His sons, as if men let sons stand in the way of their ambition. The English offered to make him king of San Domingo if he would form an alliance with them. He refused. How do you know that? Toussaint told me himself, an hour after General Maitland made the offer. He lied. The English made him no such offer. Would any man in his sense have refused that chance? You will be telling me next that the Americans offered him support, and he refused them too. He did, he did, and perhaps, Colonel Vincent, both the British and Americans offered him an alliance, and he refused that too, out of loyalty to France, I suppose. Colonel Vincent, when the British cabinet learned of my plans, it wanted to oppose them. I merely stated that I would clothe Toussaint with unlimited powers and recognize the colony's independence. That stopped their objections. They dare not have an independent black state so near their own slave colony of Jamaica. I may venture to say, First Consul, there is a difference between a black state which they control and the French colony to which the French government has given independence. It does not matter. Toussaint shall have independence neither from the English nor from me. Leclerc will drive those black vagabonds into the mountains, and 3 months' time we shall have Toussaint here to account for his crimes and his investments. Consul, I crave your indulgence. It is out of love for France that I speak. Toussaint was a slave, and he leads an army of men who were slaves, but they are not to be despised. They have no arms. They fight with sticks and stones. But today they are well armed. They have large supplies of ammunition from America. They drill ceaselessly. What leadership have they? Our officers can agree. That is true, but they have been trained and seasoned by the almost continuous fighting of the last 10 years. With 60 grenadiers, I would capture that. And at the head of these men, First Consul, is a man the most active and tireless you can imagine. He is everywhere, and always at the spot where his presence is most needed. He is a man of extreme temperance, never needs rest, can resume the labours of the cabinet after the most tiresome journeys, and his skill and power is mystifying everyone, which makes him a man so superior to all around him that most of the Negroes worship him like a god. I know those blacks at the first defeat. they will be living. Not today. No man living has acquired over an ignorant man such boundless power as General Toussaint over his people in St. Domingo. He is the absolute master of the island. Nothing can counteract his wishes. An expedition from France, however powerful, will not have an easy task. Colonel Vincent, you think that Toussaint and his black rebels can defeat the soldiers of Marengo? Not that, in Europe they could not stand before us, but the character of the country is difficult. These blacks know every inch of it. Then there is the climate, the yellow fever. Yellow fever. You suffer from a black fever disease. So the English fleet, the country, the climate, and the yellow fever all help these blacks and are linked together to defeat my expedition. You forget, Colonel Vincent, that neither the sands on the burning sun of Egypt, nor the snows of the Alps have been able to stay the victories of my army. You, a French officer, frightened at some black savages in gaudy uniforms. Officer, a guard! Napoleon's sister tries to soothe Napoleon, and they entreat Vincent to continue with his argument. First Consul, if only you could see as I have seen the changes that he has brought in one short-term power. Do not attack him. Give him a few years to consolidate his work. It may be the beginning of a new kind of colony. He is loyal to France and to you, and at the same time intrigues with Britain and America. Only the necessary supplies, the consul which we couldn't send. If you refrain from sending an expedition against him, if instead you wrote him a few simple words of help and encouragement, in 5 years, Consul, there would be a new France in the Antilles, black in skin, but speaking French, thinking French, loving us, because we have recognized their freedom and helped them out of the degradation of slavery into the enlightenment of liberty and civilization. What use will there be to us? It will be French and yours. Nothing will take them from you, and we shall have a colony, an army and generals, which will make France the queen of the Antilles, and break the power of Britain in those waters. Give up St. Domingo. Abandon the fairest and richest prize of all the colonies to this upstart culture. Those black devils have bewitched you. With such ideas, you are not fit to serve in my army. You will know your fate soon. Take him away. The audience is finished.
Thank you very much for inviting me to speak. It's nice to have Black History Month just 1 month of the year. It's sad that the more I speak into the converted, I would like to see in the middle of Chapeltown and more of our brothers and sisters here. But listen, some of us need to understand sports, economics, and politics. They all entwined. CLR James was one of my favorites. And everybody knows cricket to us in West Indies and West Indians here is like a religion. And you could use it because the Bible is not Christian. And the Bible is one of the greatest weapons of use. And the criminal could use part of it for their own gain. When you go in court, that's what the judge used. And we should use whatever of the Black Panther Party, any means necessary. Yeah? If you understand, I'm a lover and world father, be a fanatic when it comes to cricket, and West Indies cricket. And some people need to understand the whole history behind it. And I will encourage people to buy the CLR James book, Beyond the Boundary. Beyond the Boundary, what that means, yeah? God, I say it's beautiful and loving games being played. But the wicked, ridiculous politics behind it. And what we went through as West Indians, you have to really see it as they go. We have the best cricketers, but they were used and abused. In fact, Sir Larry Constantine, who was not a radical, but him himself, the things that they will tell you as a child, his father was a manager and a white man estate. And what used to happen to them, his mother and his sister, they used to play cricket in the clean field, and when he didn't understand that part of it, and when one day they were playing, and the mother picked up the ball and ran, and they had to run with the mother, and then they looked around and they see this white man with the horse coming. The overseers used to ride a horse. And my father was a manager, a white man, corporate estate. I understood, because I used to have children growing up, and I still feel to myself, I maybe was a slave labor myself. Because we used to down here, working with black folk on the penny, the work you did was, that was slavery, talking about sweatshop, that was. And you understand the term of the West Indies cricket and the slave mentality, because it's only 75, 57 when West Indies came to England on the tour. We had one of the most racist captains, a white man from Barbados by the name of John Garrard. Yeah? So in Barbados, you'll find him down there. And when he came, he would not even travel with the West Indies cricket team. They were so black. He traveled around with the youngsters team, the English cricket team. And Frank Boyle had to travel with the cricketers. We had a young Asian cricketer, everybody was worried about him to run some cricket. We follow cricket, Gamadou. Young Asian boy was very good, they picked him up, brought him over, and the way he was treated, and he bore him one day until the guy's finger burst and bleed. And tried to all of him and he showed his finger, blood running. You have to bore him. This is the kind of a crap we have to put up with. And then he had a brother in there, Dennis Atkinson. He was white as well. But he was favored that the black cricketers then, those who we bowlers because they have to work hard and feed out in the deep. And that is the role that they have to play. And even when we changed from Warwick and we went down to Alexander, another white man from Jamaica, and that one was another one as well. The whole trade went to India, and he, if you understand why I did this, was for me trying to find more of the overseas. But you have to understand, Gil Christians who work in the cane field, but he had this skill. It's just like Truman come out the pit. And if you want to know bowler, even though they never had him playing for them. In fact, he was also another problem with the English captain, where he was having to speak English. This was really curious. And went to India because Alexander wanted to dominate this little black boy from Jamaica, and he called all these guys who worked in KT. And they had some words. And one of them, he was sent home in this grace. The little black boy. He said, I was here to represent the West Indies. I wasn't here to do what he was saying. And the last series. But this is how the rubbish went to until Frank Warren took over. And when they could deal with Frank Warren was a black university educated doctor. So he could take you from the top and up, went on to Australia, and you know, fully well, personally, I am not very much a lover of the Australian, but they were racist. Has anyone seen the film Beyond the Boundary? Not Beyond the Boundary, Fire in Babylon. That's Steve Weems. But when we went there, and one Australian called Warren, son of a slave. So he didn't understand why we were there about this, and I was there. It's better to be the son of a slave than a son of a criminal, but that's what you guys are. You understand, Warren was very radical, and a Bajan who has to leave Barbados. Because we had some very queer systems there, and they couldn't deal with it. And so we went on, and the problem we went through, for these bunch of cricketers, the so-called cricketers that play for West Indies now, my policy, I had to do anything with them, or I put them onto a two-week sports, crash course. They're good sportsmen, but they are politically and culturally dominant. And that is why they are losing. When Clive left took over West Indies, he had understood the politics. For you see what we find Babylon, the first it was put in the tweeters. They went out to kill us. Then I went back to the Caribbean, pick up some youngsters, and not working on the skills, but working on the head. And you see what happens when the mind is one of the most powerful things. And as I say, we have something on CLR James. We need, and West Indians, and a lot of us don't read our history, or any history at all. That's why we are lost. And then there is no, I would have no excuse for it. I learned my history from digging out and reading. Now it's at the fingertip. Everybody has so little babies. Pick up these phones and you find everything there by the tip of your finger. So don't come to me and excuse that time about, oh, you didn't know you could read it. You know, as the great Malcolm X said, reading is knowledge and knowledge is power. And if you want to serve it, this is 2013. And nobody's telling me they're going to school and come back here and tell me they didn't know. What the hell you know, I mean, what are you waiting for? But I'll say that CLR James, because we have some beautiful writers, even Dr. Williams. I mean, he was a very radical, but funny, when he became Prime Minister, he even banned some of his books. Because his books were so radical. from Columbus to Castro, inward hunger. I mean, Stokely Carmichael is a Trinidadian. He lectured to Stokely Carmichael in America. And when Stokely Carmichael went radical in the Black Power movement in the mid-60s, he banned Stokely Carmichael from even go back to Trinidad.
He put James under house arrest.
Yeah. And they was all fighting in the trenches together. And here you are, I mean, where you speak about the Haiti. And I'm one of them, my heart bleeds for Haiti. And I've got something seriously against the French for what they done to Haiti. And what they still doing to Haiti after all these years. You know, I mean, we see, now the camera move away from the disaster in Haiti, but there's nothing changed. You know, they only have to home in it for 2 days and then move it away. some of us think it's changed. And we need to get more political, and you talk about humanity and the whole race. And it doesn't just stop with the Caribbean, we all suffer from it. We see what happened to Barack Obama. Those Ku-Klux dinosaurs, they're still alive. They think by shutting down America they're hurting Barack Obama. What they cannot deal with is a black president of America who is an African. And that's all it is. They shut down America because it's a black president. So, you know what I mean? You know, they're saying, when your brother's house burning, it was wet yours. And the Angela Davis, they come from in the morning, they come from in the night. So I don't think you're any different. You might say, I'm a good Methodist, or this one is a radical Muslim. Don't worry about it. We are in the same boat, catching hell from the same system. And rather just quoted here about our Prime Minister of Israel. Nothing changed. You know, if you move it out, you just change the words, write something, and you go pass all the other life. It's not, you're not changing people's lives. Anyway, thank you very much.
So the next little bits of reading are a bit shorter. So yeah, Napoleon's with his brother is planning on recolonise the Saint Domingue. You're also going to read an extract about Toussaint and his sons come back to Saint Domingue and Toussaint's relationship there.
So two scenes. The first is as was being said, Napoleon makes his final arrangements with Louverture, and then we finally meet Toussaint Louverture talking to his two sons. These are your final instructions. Roughly, the campaign will be divided into 3 periods. In the first, Toussaint shall be treated well while you occupy the principal positions. In the second, gain over the black general by bribes and promises, and then order Toussaint to come to Cap Francois and deliver himself. I shall need much money. Take it from the rich in Saint Domingue. In the third period, arrest all the black generals and send them to Paris. If Toussaint is taken in arms, shoot him as a rebel within 24 hours. Disarm the population and then, but only then, restore slavery. Do you understand? Restore slavery? Of course. Do you think we went to the Congo and rooted out those blacks in order to make them into French citizens? That is a doctrine for priests and professors, not for officers in my colonial service. The Chamber of Commerce is pressing for the renewal of the slave trade. The country needs it. Yes, First Consul. Draft a letter to Toussaint, which I shall sign, and give it to those boys. Address him with great honor. Tell him that he has served France faithfully. Tell him that the Constitution contains a few extravagances, but that we recognize the difficult conditions under which he has produced it. In the letter, whenever possible, talk about religion and about God. Yes, First Consul. This expedition consists of 30,000 men and 60 ships. Yes, First Consul. And the reserve? 10,000 men and 26 ships, First Consul. Vincent is no fool, and those blacks are perhaps stronger than we think. I don't think they are very strong. Vincent spoke with conviction. Leclerc, take the reserve with the expedition. I shall have a reserve of equal strength prepared. That gives you 40,000 men and 86 ships. Toussaint has no ships and only 60,000 men. And black rebels at that. If you play your cards well, 6 weeks after you landed in San Domingo will be French and yours. In the second section of this part, we meet Toussaint with his wife and children and a brother. I have no future without the trust and confidence of the people of San Domingo. It is they who have made me what I am, and not the first consul. My sons, today when I see you for the first time after all these years of separation, a day that should be all gladness and rejoicing, I have to put a bitter choice before you. You are my sons, I can keep you. I shall not. Toussaint, here is San Domingo, your father, your mother, your own people. There is France, which has educated you and made you what you are now. You seem to think that the first consul and Leclerc mean peace and goodwill. I shall not resist them, for I know that their victory over us means slavery. You are now men. You must trust to your own judgment. Choose, my sons, choose freely. Whatever you decide, I shall always love and cherish you. Toussaint, declare a truce for 2 days only, and go and meet Leclerc. Father, go and see him. The first consul assured us of his love and regard for you. If you had been there, Father, all this would not have happened. If we set out now, we shall meet him by tomorrow evening. Think of what it will mean, not only for us, but to the soldiers and the whole population. General Christophe, at your entreaties, I shall do what the Commander-in-Chief decides. No, my sons, you must choose. Have no fear. Whatever you decide, you shall always remain my deeply loved children. Father, I think you are wrong. I am a faithful servant of France as you taught me to be. I believe that she is just. I shall never take arms against her without good cause. I could have wished that you, Isaac, had chosen otherwise. And you, Basile. I am your father. I fear the future. I fear slavery. I am ready to fight to oppose it. I no longer know France. Tonight, you shall be appointed a commander in my own guards. Father Cognon, I shall give you a letter to General Leclerc, in which he shall know my decision. I said, no, Suzanne.